Love Show, where we grapple with the question, what is love? Today we want to know, is love dead? Believe it or not, I found more articles about how love is in fact not dead than I found any proof that love is dead. But is love the Grateful Dead? I put out an album in 2018 entitled Beth Gaeta's Dead. Beth Gaeta's my given name, and since I don't really use that name much anymore, and I'm a hopeless deadhead, I made the title of my Grateful Dead cover album, Beth Gaeta's Dead, with an apostrophe before the dead, taking the place of grateful. That's what apostrophes are for, either for possession or to take the place of something. So it's really called Beth Gaeta's Grateful Dead. The grateful's implied. So this is my last show of 2019. It's still 2019 now, but by the time it's Love Show Wednesday this week, it will actually be January 1st, 2020. So Happy New Year! Yay! 2020. "2019 is just about dead and over anyway. And I am going to ring in the new year with the boys. I have tickets to see Dead and Company in San Francisco on New Year's Eve. So, yay. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Dead and Company is the name the boys that are left from the Grateful Dead are using currently. So it's Bob Weir, Mickey Hart, and Billy Kreutzmann, all three original members of the Grateful Dead. And they have Johnny Mayer now playing in Jerry Garcia's place on lead guitar. He does a pretty impressive job. Big shoes to fill. Jerry was, well, not replaceable. But I like going still to keep the tradition alive for me. Funny, I go to the dead to keep stuff alive. I go to the dead to keep alive. Really alive. So we proved that music is love here on the Love Show, on the Is Music Love episode. And the Grateful Dead is music. So I would have to say that I think that the Grateful Dead is love. But is love dead? Some would argue that love is dead. Some would argue that the Grateful Dead is not music. Some would argue that the Grateful Dead are dead. They had lost 5 members, but most of them were all the keyboardists. Hot seat. The keyboard. Pigpen, Keith, Brent, and Vince were all keyboardists. The biggest hit to the Grateful Dead was Jerry Garcia passing. As far as I can tell, that's when what we knew as the Grateful Dead died. I had rare opportunities as a Generation Xer, because most of the Deadheads, the original Deadheads, are baby boomers. I'm a Generation Xer, so I came way later, and I still was fascinated by them since I was 12 in a really weird and unnatural sort of way. I've said before, I think I have a problem. I need a support group. My Grateful Dead problem. But, anyway, I had the rare opportunity as a Generation Xer to see Jerry live several times. I miss Jerry. But his love still seems to be alive. Excuse me. We proved in our Is Love Real episode that not only is love real, but it's more real than reality. Because one does not need a body for one's love to exist in this world. Perhaps they may have needed to have a body once, but really, that's all it took for Jesus. One life, but one life. He lived but one life, and look how much his love is still very much a part of our lives. Even if you're not Christian, Christmas time, we just celebrated Christmas. It's still a big deal. All about Jesus and his love. But also, it seems to be about others' love for him. Kind of like how all the Deadheads' love for Jerry keeps him and the Grateful Dead alive. The Christians who love Christ keep his love alive. Jerry's love for the Grateful Dead and his dedication to all of the people who came to be involved in that giant machine that became the Grateful Dead. His love kept that alive and growing and moving all the time. It was like its own entity. But there would be no dead Grateful Dead, Dead and Company, Deadheads. No, nothing without Jerry's love. Just like there would have been no Christianity if Jesus had not walked around talking to people about love, mostly. And all the while loving people, loving love, being love. So just after solstice this year, the hippie realm lost an important member. The beloved Ram Dass passed on the 22nd of December. He will be missed. He was an author, for those who don't know. He wrote Be Here Now, which we have had in our house for a couple of decades. Our copy is falling apart. I think we have 2 copies. Hopefully one's still intact. Because my husband and I both had a copy when we met. And we've been together for 20 years. Be Here Now. Ram Dass. Good read. If you haven't. Hell, it's a good read if you have. It's a good read. One of those that you can read again and again and get something different out of it every time. Anyway, Ram Dass said, as you dissolve into love, your ego fades. You're not thinking about loving, you're just being love, radiating like the sun. I wonder if there was a rainbow when he passed. I've talked before on the show about Rainbow Body. Merlin's love show at gmail.com. If you know if there was a rainbow upon Ram Dass being released from his body, contact me. I'm so curious. I really want to know if there was a rainbow upon his death on the 22nd, somewhere in San Francisco, I think. No, Hawaii. He passed in Hawaii. Oh, there's rainbows in Hawaii all the time. So contact me. Was there a rainbow in the area of Ram Dass's passing? Did he turn into a rainbow? We proved in a couple of episodes prior to this one that love is a rainbow. And we've talked about Rainbow Body several times. It's this phenomenon out mainly in Tibet that's been happening for thousands of years, and they have thousands of documented cases, and it's really interesting. These people pretty much just disappear and they turn into rainbows. But before they turn into rainbows, they do this meditating on love and on loving, and they turn into love, and they turn into rainbows, and it's really strange and wonderful. And I want to know if Ram Dass turned into a rainbow. So please contact me. Let me know if you know anything. Excuse me. I bet there was a rainbow. I've always said that I have this theory that whenever anybody dies, that, well, I haven't always said it, but since I was a very young person, I went to a lot of funerals unnaturally for whatever reason when I was young. And I noticed that the weather seemed to match every time somebody passed their favorite weather. And mainly I noticed when a woman in Kansas passed away and I went to her funeral, and she loved snow. And but it just doesn't snow at the time of year she passed away in Kansas, really, and it snowed on her funeral. My great uncle passed away, and he loved thunderstorms. He was an old vet, and they had the 21 gun salute for him and everything, and it was thunderstorming like nobody's business on his funeral. Very apropos. And if, they didn't really have a favorite weather, it just does whatever is in the forecast. But if they did have a favorite weather, it seems to really do that on their funeral. And it makes sense to me, because one of the first things that happens when the body does die is that all the fluids leave. I mean, one poos themselves and pees themselves. If there's anything in the tracks, you lose all that water. Something they don't often tell you about dying, but that does happen. And the water from you just seems to leave. And I think, the clouds are water vapor, and they create our weather. And so I think our spirits are in the clouds. And that's where they go when they pass. And that's why they say, heaven's in the clouds, and that's where they are. That's my theory. It's been my theory for a really long time. So when I pass, if this is true, there will be a rainbow. I like sun showers because they create rainbows. So there'll be a sun shower and a rainbow, if my theory is true, when I die. So if any of you are still kicking when I'm ready to leave my body behind, see if my theory is true. Anyway, Be Here Now, a good read. And Ram Dass said, as you dissolve into love, your ego fades. You're not thinking about loving, you're just being love, radiating like the sun. I think that is beautiful. He also said, I hang out with my guru in my heart, and I love everything in the universe. That's all I do all day. So sadly, Ram Dass, his body is dead. He was love for sure. So is love dead because Ram Dass is? No. Because he lived, and he loved, and he was love. He was sort of released. Because the body makes you have to be small, and love grows. He got too big for his body, maybe. Is love dead because Jerry Garcia's dead? No. Because he lived and he loved. Is love dead because Jesus died? Did love die on that cross? No, not at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure one could argue that love grew when Jesus died on the cross. Love grew when Jerry died, too. Us heads all huddled up in tight, meaningful hugs of loss, but also of love. Love for Jerry, love for each other, love for music. When a person dies, if they put a lot of love into the world when they were alive, the love grows. As their spirit passes into limitless space, they outgrow their body. I believe we go wherever we believe we are going to go when we pass, when we die, when our bodies die. But wherever we go, we grow. Even if we don't go, even if you believe that you're just going to rot in the ground, even if you believe that you don't go anywhere, you just rot in the ground, you grow. You'll change into something else. And your hair and nails supposedly keep growing. Weird, huh? They're like an entity all of themselves. Your hair and your nails, like separate organisms, like the Grateful Dead. And even if you were cremated, someone puts you on the ground eventually, and you'll bring nutrients to the plants and make them grow. So really nothing ever dies completely. It's this grand cycle of life and death and rebirth that keeps happening. So even if love dies, it will be reborn just like everything else. But love is not dead, and I don't think you can kill something that fast. It doesn't die. Perhaps love is the Grateful Dead, or dead in company. But love is not dead. It's not dead. Love is alive. We proved it in our Is Love Alive show, January 1st, 2019. So here we are, full circle. Life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth. It all just keeps happening. I didn't even plan this for us to come full circle either, for the love show on the first of the year to be Is Love Alive, and for the love show on the last of the year to be Is Love Dead, and for them both to prove that love is in fact quite alive and growing. I didn't plan that, it just sort of serendipitously happened. Very appropriately happened. And it just proves how love is cyclical. We should do another love show on Is Love Cyclical. We have a few more left. I'm going to make love shows until Valentine's Day. And then we're going to take a break. And I'll be back in the fall, probably August. I usually start around August for a fourth season. So We're looking at the 4th season of the Love Show in 2020. Let's take our love into the next decade. Happy New Year! Happy New Year 2020, everybody. Love. Love is very much alive and growing. Grow your love. Grow some love this year. Thanks for watching. I love you. Happy New Year.